teach you how to buy a used car for cheap and monetize it in such a way that it yields 5 figures in the first year, 6 figures by the second. And you can start with as few as $2,000 if you look in the right place. So I'm going to walk you through those steps because I believe that every Black person should be a business owner, even if they never thought about entrepreneurship. Because the tax code was set up for owners to win and employees to pay. So this is the type of business that you can start while you're working full time. This is the type of business that you can start while you still get a direct deposit from your W-2. This is the type of business that you can start while you're thinking about the original idea that in the future you will monetize. It's the type of business that has the startup costs where you don't have to go running around with your hand out asking other people to lift you up. All right? So let's go ahead and get started. So first, what we're going to talk about is how to leverage the use of Turo. All right? So what Turo is a website and an application that allows you to list a used car, it can even be a new car, on their app or their website. And essentially, potential customers can rent your car, use it for a number of days, and pay you in exchange for it. So I want you to think about this app and this website just like Airbnb, where if you were renting out a room in your house, or if you were renting out your whole house, you rent it to a stranger, right? A potential customer. They come in and they use it, they pay you, and then you benefit. With Turo, you do this with your car. All right, so we're going to walk through the different nuances on how to get this started. You can get started in as early as 2 weeks. You can get started in as late as 4 weeks, depending on how slow you move. Now, before you get started, one of the things that I would recommend you do is exactly what I did. And that is, I want you to use Turo as a consumer first. What does that mean? I want you to get on Turo and I want you to rent a stranger's car. Yes, stranger danger, but soon that stranger is going to be in them pockets depositing what? Money. Hello. You know, this is the Get Money episode. Hello. But what you're going to do is you're going to go through the whole user experience. And the reason why I say that is that the most effective entrepreneurs know how to uniquely serve the needs of their customers. So if you go through the process as a customer, I want you to write down those things that resonate with you. And I want you to write down those things that you would change if you were renting your own car. Okay, so that's going to be step number 1. Step number 2, I want you to actually list your car. Now, this won't be the used car that you buy. This is going to be the car that you drive. Now, I don't want you to list your car if this is your only form of transportation to and fro, okay? Because what we don't need is for Nut to get up on Turo and act a fool, rent your one and only car, crash it up into a light pole, and run butt naked down the street. We don't want that. So if you living with your boo, ask them, can I use your car? You love them, but you know, we gonna put a little trust in the car. Maybe your boo's like, you ain't using my car, sweetheart, but you can go ahead and put your you can put your hoop-de-hoop on Turo. Well, okay. Go ahead and put yours out there too. Maybe rent it one time just to see how the experience is. That gives you an opportunity to go through the process, okay? So step number 2, we're gonna talk about how you get started and what are some of the costs associated with getting started. The first thing that I want to talk about is insurance, okay? That's something that I did not have a lot of time to go in depth about, all right? When I was doing the 30-second video. You're going to be renting an asset to a stranger that you have never met. So you want to make sure to protect your assets, because you know what happens when you give money to unreliable people. Some of y'all got uncles right now that owe you $50 from 7 Thanksgivings ago. And every single time you see him, he's eating a piece of fried chicken talking about, no, honey, I don't got your $50. Holler at me next Thanksgiving. And you already know how the end of that story goes. You ain't never going to get your $50. Fry 50 pieces of chicken for him, charge him $1, he'll give you an IOU every single time. So you want to make sure that you insure your car. And I want to give you some free game on this, all right? So this took a lot of digging, took a lot of experience. So Turo offers 3 types of insurance that you must opt into if you are not entering Turo as a LLC, and we'll talk about this, or as a corporation, we'll talk about this. But essentially, you have to use Turo's insurance, and you also have to get your own insurance. I'm going to talk about Turo's insurance first. So Turo's insurance is backed by Liberty Mutual. So I don't want you to think that it's bootleg. Liberty Mutual is a reputable company, all right? They back Turo's insurance policy that when you start up as a sole proprietor or even as an individual, which is sole proprietor, you must use, all right? You can get $1 million in coverage, okay? So if you end up renting an expensive car and you think that the damage or all the damages associated with the potential accident, God forbid, I'm knocking on all types of wood, $1 million in coverage, okay? But there are 3 tiers. There is the basic tier, the standard tier, and also the premium tier. And each tier will determine the totality of coverage that you have on your vehicle. It will also determine the profit that you walk away with when you select that coverage. So that means that they can, if you select the premium package, you'll get paid 65% of profits. If you select the basic package, you'll get paid 85% of profits, okay? So it's gonna be up to you what type of insurance you select, but it's required if you are using the website as a contractor or also as a single member, okay, LLC or a sole proprietor, all right? But specifically a sole proprietor. Next, we're going to talk about your insurance. So here's where things get a little tricky. You can use Turo's insurance, but you also have to have your own car insurance. Now, Turo is having a similar type of battle with states and also insurance companies, right? Because a lot of folks are like, especially insurance companies are like, okay, you want me to cover a car that you're not driving. If you've ever applied for car insurance, which I hope you are not out there riding dirty, what do they ask you? They ask you, have you ever been in any accidents? How old are you, right? And the older you get, the cheaper, hopefully, your car insurance goes, unless you've been in 78 accidents, okay? They're asking you if you're employed. They're asking you if you've gone to college, and what they're doing is making assessments to the extent to which you could be a good driver. But when you were renting your car to a stranger, the car insurance company cannot assess a stranger who you've never met ability to operate a vehicle in a responsible way. But you must have car insurance. So one of the things that Turo recommends is that you have a transparent conversation with your insurance provider and you let them know how the car will be operated. The type of insurance that you should get for that car would be limited liability coverage, okay? I would recommend that you start with Liberty Mutual, since Liberty Mutual already has a relationship with Turo. Okay, so to recap, you have to insure the vehicle, you're going to insure it through Turo, and you're also going to get your own car insurance, okay? Preferably through Liberty Mutual. I was able to go through the process as well with Progressive, but you must disclose how the car will be used, all right? Next, you're going to have to pay for the car's registration and any fees associated with DMV, all right? So we're not going to be out here riding dirty. You're not going to get your uncle's car, your auntie's car from the backyard. You don't got the title. You don't got the registration. DMV don't know you own the car. You just out here making $20, $30 on the side. That's all well and good until something happens. So I want you to make sure that you register the car, and I want to make sure that you pay all associated DMV fees. Now next, we're going to talk about the type of car that you should buy. My recommendation is that you don't finance a car that you then rent on Turo. What I want you to do is I want you to look at sites like cargurus.com. That's where I went to go and find cars that could be rented on Turo. And you want to look for cars that are certified pre-owned. Now, usually where people get this wrong is they think that all certified pre-owned cars are created equally. But we know that that's not true with cars. Because I know a couple of y'all, when y'all was 18 years old, you saw a pretty car, you hopped in there, you put your keys in it, no engine underneath the hood. Pretty car can't take it nowhere. Look cute all up in the Instagram picture, can't take the car nowhere. So with the certified pre-owned vehicle, they are certified in many different ways, okay? So you can have a certified pre-owned vehicle from the manufacturer or from the dealer, okay? You want to look for a certified pre-owned vehicle that is provided by the manufacturer, okay? So a manufacturer CPO, okay, is what it's called. And the reason why is because if there's any recalls, all right, if there's any warranties with the car, you're more apt to get those warranties honored, right, by the automakers. So when you're looking for a certified pre-owned vehicle, I want you to look for a manufacturer CPO. This does not mean that the dealer's certified pre-owned vehicle is trash, right? It just means if you had a choice, would you want bologna or would you want a vegan burger? Now, some of y'all gonna say bologna, and you probably gonna go over to the stove right now, throw it on the frying pan, all right? But it's the difference between buying black owned or otherwise. Oops, shot fired. Okay, so you wanna make sure that you go with the manufacturer CPO wherever possible, all right? Next, you wanna make sure that you take your car through PPI. And essentially what that means is that you want a pre-purchase inspection, all right? So anybody taking notes, I want to make sure that you get this. You want to make sure that you have a pre-purchase inspection, because for some dealers out here, yes, dealers try to operate above the board, right? It's not just the auto mechanic that you find on the street, and shout out to them, right? So I have uncles that are the mechanics that you find on the side of the streets, and they gonna listen. They gonna charge you a fair rate for some beer and some cash, all right? But when you go to the dealer, they're gonna try to make sure with their whole business model is about making sales. So you wanna make sure that you bring in a third-party vendor, right? So a third-party inspector to inspect your vehicle to find the things that the dealer may have missed, all right? So you want a PPI, a pre-purchase inspection. So make sure you write that down, because people have been doing this, put your car on Turo, child, make a whole bunch of money, but they forget to tell you how to insure it. They forget to tell you how to choose a car that can last you long term, because it doesn't make sense for you to buy a car that is only going to be in operation for 2 or 3 months. We want to make sure that our assets is fully paid off and that this is an asset that can yield cash flow for us for years to come. So we want to be strategic. And that's why, and yeah, I'm probably calling some of y'all out, and if I'm not calling you out, I'm calling your cousin out. This is why it's not advantageous for you to hop down in the comment section and get advice from another account that don't even got a picture. Jump down in the comment section, because you don't want to be thorough in your research. You taking advice from someone that ain't even owned a car before, but simply because they have so grammar, right? They may use a period maybe in their comment. You trust them because you're too lazy to do the work. Y'all already know what it is. Don't swim in an ocean of knowledge and drown in ignorance, okay? So let's keep going. I want you to, if at all, right, and it's depending on whatever your business strategy is, avoid buying luxury vehicles, because they are much more expensive to rent. But to be quite transparent, luxury vehicles actually do very well on Turo's site, right? So if you don't have the budget, okay, you do not have the budget to repair a luxury vehicle, don't go running out there all loose and fast with your wallet, right? Let me tell you something, wallet out here all loose, trying to give it out to everybody, only got 2 cents in there, right? We need the wallet to have some standards, all right? And also, if at all possible, you want to make sure that you buy the car in cash. If you cannot afford it on your own, cooperative economics, people. We don't always have to embrace the sea of competition. We can embrace the sea of collaboration. So maybe you know a friend or two who is also looking to make extra capital. You know you can buy a car for $2,000 in cash. You got $1,000 from your tax return. They got $1,000 on their tax return because they claim the neighbor's kids. None of my business. They put their $1,000, you put your $1,000 in, and now y'all got $2,000 to buy your car, right? Insurance accepted. So I want you to think outside of the box, and I want you to buy a car that doesn't have to be financed, all right? So let's keep going. Now, here's where things get a little circuitous, all right? So in my video, I recommended that once you buy your vehicle, that you transfer ownership into an LLC. But there's some caveats to that, right? So an LLC is a limited liability company, but you can also operate your business as a sole proprietor. I'm going to explain to you the benefits and the setbacks of doing either or, all right? So to recap, we talked about the insurance, what type of insurance you should buy. We talked about how to choose a certified pre-owned vehicle. We talked about pre-purchase inspection. We talked about buying a car that you can afford. And we also talked about cooperative economics, making sure you buy a car in cash and try your best not to finance. So now we're going to talk about the legal designation that should surround and protect your vehicle and hopefully your assets. We're going to start first with the sole proprietorship. All right. And the definition of a sole proprietorship is just you owning and operating a business that is not registered with the state. Okay. So you're doing business under your social security number. And what you're doing is you're filing your income on your tax paperwork. All right. So you are not an incorporated business. You are not an S corporation, C corporation. You're not an LLC. And essentially you are personally liable for any losses that come to your business, okay? But you also can assume all of the gains, all right? Again, as an individual. Now, the reason why we're starting with a sole proprietorship, because when we talk about the type of insurance that you can get, ideally speaking, commercial insurance is the best type of insurance that you can buy in order to cover your vehicle. But commercial insurance is usually awarded to business owners that drive their own vehicles, or they trust the driving of their vehicles to their employees. As a sole proprietor, guess what you don't have? Employees, plural, usually, okay? So as a sole proprietor, it will be difficult, if not near impossible, to get commercial insurance as a sole proprietor. However, you can be covered by your limited liability insurance and also by Turo's insurance. And that should cover any losses that you may experience with your vehicle. But one thing that I do want to say, all right, is that if you do rent your car out as a sole proprietor, you want to make sure that you are diligent about vetting the people who are going to operate your vehicle, because very dangerous things can happen in a vehicle when accidents occur, right? So yes, you can wreck your car. It can be totaled. Your insurance will cover it. You can scratch your car. You know, you can run it up on a curb. You can back it up into a pole. I'm not wishing any of this stuff on you, but also lives can be put in danger with the car. So I say that to say is you want to make sure that you have the type of insurance that covers you in the event that that happens. All right. So now we're going to talk about the LLC. All right. A limited liability company. I do believe that most business owners should operate an LLC, because an LLC protects you from any legal issues that may come to your business or try to come to you personally, right? So it's like a shield. If somebody gets into a car accident and they want to sue you, and they say, you know what, I ran up on a curb. They might even run over the curb. They might have ran over a stick, right? You know those people. They're not honorable. They run over a stick, open the door, roll out into traffic, right? Their leg all over their head, arm all up on their neck. We're like, sir, you ran over a stick and you telling me that you all out on the ground? Those people the ambulance chasers. And they try to take you to court because now they got neck pain because they ran over a stick, right? So let's say you're found guilty. The crazy judge believes them. If you don't have a limited liability company, then they can go after not only your business assets, which is the car that's still trying to figure out what happened. I mean, they're supposed to roll over a stick. That's why we have tires, duh, right? But they want to take the car, but then also they may have access to your personal assets. What a limited liability company does is it limits any liability to the assets that are owned by the business. So if you own a house as an individual, if you own a separate vehicle that is not listed on Turo as an individual, that ambulance chaser cannot sue you. That's the benefit of having an LLC. When you buy your car, you can buy it as an individual. You can transfer ownership of the title to your LLC. You can then take the ownership of the LLC to the DMV, right? So you can take that title to the DMV and you can go ahead and get your vehicle registered, and that may qualify you for commercial insurance. But the limitation will be is that the insurance company is going to ask who's driving your car. And when you say that it's a stranger, there may be some issues there. So I want you to keep that in mind as you think through the different ways that you want to operate your business, okay? So it's important for us to be strategic about that, okay? All right, you feeling me? Y'all know some people who ran over that stick, don't it? Y'all think about that person. You was probably in the passenger seat riding shotgun, talking about, yeah, sis, don't roll to the left, roll to the right. I ain't gonna tell on you. All right, so let's keep going. So getting your vehicle ready, all right? So we just talked about how to operate your used car business, your 5-figure used car business as a sole proprietor and also as an LLC owner, okay? And only you can make that decision on what's best for you, okay? So now we're gonna talk about how to get your car ready in order to maximize sales. And then after that, we're gonna do the math and I'm gonna show you how to get to $10,000 earned in your first year, okay? So it's levels to this, it's steps to this, right? What did the great Nipsey Hussle say? Like, don't skip the steps and miss the lesson. Come on, look, where's my church fan? Because I'm gonna say that for the people in the back who missed it, right? Do not skip the steps and miss the lessons. I know there's some people out here in the comments, they're like, girl, get to the money. You're gonna be the one driving the car with no insurance. I'm not trying to wish that on you, but we're not skipping steps and missing lessons, okay? All right, now getting your car ready. You got to make sure your car is clean. I don't know your business right now, but if you don't know how to vacuum a car, if you don't know how to clean out the cup holder, if you don't know how to spit shine the hood, okay? You know how mama used to spit shine your forehead, get that little coal up out of your eye? You're going to have to make sure the car is clean. Nobody wants to be driving in a dirty car, all right? You also want to make sure you remove any valuables from the car. You want to make sure that you track your mileage on your car, all right? That's something that you're going to do every single time that you rent your vehicle, all right? You're going to make sure that you understand the features of your car. So since you're doing this as a business, right, you want to make sure, okay, that you understand the features because you're going to need to explain this to the people driving your car. Here's how you back up. Here's how you adjust your mirrors. Here's how you put your hazards on. Okay, here's how you put on the emergency brake. Here's how you pay me. Hello, always make sure that that's on the list. Okay, we're going to make sure that you take dope photos. Now, there's some folks in here. Y'all do great on your Instagram pictures, right? Y'all get the perfect light. You got the perfect outfit. You out here stunting, child. Walk 23 hours through life as a 7. You get up on Instagram, child, you a whole 10. You know, with the right light, you a whole 11. I want you to take a picture of your car like you would take a picture for your Instagram. Just don't run the filter on it, okay? We do not need the car having a big butt and a small waist. We just need it to be accurate and with good light, okay? So we want to take some good pictures of our car. Now, I want to talk to you about the strategy of renting your car, all right? When you list your car on Turo, you want to make sure that you always book an hour, okay, before the car is rented and an hour after. Now, we're not on CP time in here, right? We on WP time. We're on wealthy people's time. But if a person books your car at 6, you want to make sure that the car is available at 5, right? If they're booking it until 10, you want to make sure that you book it out until 11 o'clock. If you have booked back-to-back bookings, you don't want to make sure to penalize the next driver because the first driver was late, okay? You also want to make sure that there are 3 hours between bookings, all right? That gives you an opportunity to clean your car and make sure that it's presentable, all right? Another thing is you want to make sure that as much as possible, you don't rent your car for just one day. Let's think about the economics of that, right? Every single time that you rent the car, you have to clean it. Every single time that you rent the car, you have to spend your time explaining instructions to the next person. So the people who make the most money on Turo have 2 and 3 day minimums. So that means at the very least, right? At the very least, you're making sure to pull in a minimum amount every single time you rent the car. Also, you want to consider whether you want to charge for extra mileage. So there's folks on Turo who will list their car and they'll say, you can drive my car for up to 1,500 miles. And on the 1,501st mile, I'm going to charge you 15 or 25 cents per mile. I'm going to charge you like $1 per mile. And that allows for them to build in additional profits on their listing, okay? So, another thing that you want to do, and a lot of people forget this when they're on Turo, you want to make sure that you price your car manually. So when you price your car on Turo, one of the things that will happen is they will say, okay, this is the type of car that you're listing. This is how much we think it should be worth. So you set your own price based off of your competitors. Do not let the app choose your price for you, okay? So I hope that was useful. Oh, I have one more. Price your car cheaper on weekdays, price it higher on weekends. Think about those times where you were joyriding with your car, okay? Joyriding is Saturday, Sunday. You own the Toyota Echo. You know, you got to lean over on your car, roll down the windows. You remember those days? I used to own that car. You got to roll down the window. You know, somebody trying to holler at you. You trying to look cute, but you got to reach over the passenger side. You got to reach all the way over there and roll it down, try to look cute. Be like, hey, boo, what's up? What's your number? And they looking like, oh, you cute. You exchange numbers. Then you have to figure out how to sexily reach back over and roll the window up. Yes, thank God for power windows. But the whole point of what I'm trying to say is people flex on the weekends, right? They drive the hoopty Monday through Thursday, Friday through Sunday, they flexing in the Lamborghini. So on the weekends, you want to make sure that you hike that price up. Also, what happens on the weekend is people move. So depending on what type of vehicle you own, if it's a pickup truck, and we'll talk about that in a second, you can up that price because you know that people are more likely to be moving from one place to another. Sofas, beds, couches, and U-Haul prices are high from Fridays to Sundays. So make sure that you're strategic with that. So, guess what? We about to get to the money. Come on, somebody cue OT gymnastics. We gonna get to the money and see how much money we can make through renting a used car, all right, through Turo, which is a car sharing app. And I see some folks asking the questions like, okay, y'all, what have we talked about? What have we talked about? Because you came in here on CP time. I ain't gonna call you out. I just called you out. But we talked about leveraging Turo, which is a car sharing app, to rent a used car. And we talked about how we were going to access the Turo app, right? And we were going to use it as a customer first, rent our boo's car. We love them, but you know, we gotta keep our car. We gotta keep our car. He can always ride shotgun, you know, depending on who you date. She can always ride shotgun, you know, so rent their car, get the user experience, right? We talked about the type of insurance that is best for you, right? We talked about how to choose a car, right? A used car, how to look for a certified pre-owned vehicle. We talked about the type of inspection your car should get. We talked about how we should avoid buying luxury vehicles, okay? We talked about the type of business structure that we should employ, and we talked about how to get our car ready externally, but also from the business sense to rent on the app, okay? So now where we are, we about to get money. Come on, we about to get money so we can accumulate assets. So today, I went on cargurus.com, which I highly recommend, and I found a truck, a 2007 Nissan Titan, all right? And it was priced around $4,700, all right? So what I did was I just rounded up to $5,000. I said, okay, what if we bought this truck for $5,000 and I was all types of fees included with the exception of insurance? So let's say we bought a pickup truck. Why did I decide for a pickup truck? I decided to pickup truck or to buy a pickup truck, right? Hypothetically speaking, because pickup trucks can be used to move, right? So when I looked at the prices of pickup trucks on, Enterprise, when I saw the prices on Enterprise and I looked at the price of similar pickup trucks on Turo, they were cheaper on Turo than Enterprise. So I figured that movers on a budget would be looking for pickup trucks on Turo before they look for Enterprise, okay? So I found a $4,700 2007 Nissan Titan, okay? We're gonna buy it hypothetically for $5,000. I went to the Progressive lady. Y'all know the Progressive lady, little white lady. She real cute, got a little headband on, you know, she always she got the all white on, she tried to sell you the insurance. I went through the whole insurance buying process and actually got approved for $70 a month, okay, on Progressive, all right? So like, let's budget $70 a month. And let's say we budget about $130 in maintenance, right? So that includes anything to keep the car clean. We take it through car washes, we vacuum it, we make sure that the tires are good from month to month. So let's say we're budgeting $200 per month in insurance and also in car maintenance, okay? So that's $200 a month. I went on Turo and I tried to figure out how high you could go with renting your pickup truck. And it seemed like the costs were between $65 to $70. So if you rented a 2007 Nissan pickup truck for $65 a day, for 16 days a month, you would make $1,050. okay? $1,050 just in a month. Now remember, Turo takes 15% of your profits, okay? You get to keep 85%, but they can take 15%. They can take all the way up to 20+% of your dollars, okay? So let's say you paid Turo 15% because you had to purchase one of their insurance packages, right? So you walk away with $850. Now remember, we have to subtract the $200, $70 for insurance, $130 for maintenance. You would be making $650 per month. All right, so that's if you bought a $5,000 2007 Nissan pickup truck and you rented it for $65 a day for 16 days. All right, so let's keep going. All right, so in this particular example, you walked away with $650 in profit, and that is per month. So over a year, you would have earned $7,800 in profit, okay? So let's say that you took the same truck, right? You continue to rent it for $65 a day, all right? Let's say you rented it for 20 days a month. So that means for 10 or 11 days, you were able to just keep the truck, maintain the truck. 20 days a month, you're renting this truck, $65 a day. You will walk away with $1,300 by the end of the month, all right? $13 by the end of the month. We have to pay Turo our 15% for the insurance that's required by them. We will walk away with $1,100, people. $1,100. Now, we put $200 towards maintenance, and now we have $900 in profit, okay? $900 in profit a month. Come on, somebody. For some of you all, $900 in profit is enough for you to pay your rent. $900 a month is enough for you to pay all of your bills, save for your rent and your mortgage. $900 a month is an opportunity for you to pay down your credit card debt. $900 a month, people. That's enough for you to invest in the stock market and put a little something away to become a first-time home buyer. All because you made the smart decision of buying a depreciating asset that you could monetize in the marketplace. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of more free game, all right? Since you bought a pickup truck, you want to be smart about the upcharge. So for those of you all who've been on sites and you get all the way to the checkout, right? You're super excited. You're like, oh my God, I'm at the checkout, right? And you get to the checkout, you went to go buy shoes. All of a sudden you're about to click buy. They're like, wait a minute, but you forgot something. Look at this blouse. And you're like, oh man, that blouse is cute. Okay, let me put that up in the checkout box. So now you got shoes in the bag. You about to click checkout, it pops out. Wait a minute. You forgot your jewelry, right? So that's called an upsell. So since you have a pickup truck, an enterprising individual would say, I know you're renting my truck because you may be moving. I'm also going to, all right, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to offer dollies. I'm going to offer, you can even offer moving boxes. Hello. You can offer covering blankets. You can offer an easy pass. So those are all things that you can offer to upgrade the type of, not expenses, but cash flow that you incur every single month. So that takes that $900 to a potential $1,100 or $1,200 a month. All right. So the maximum amount that you can make renting your truck for $20 a day for $65 a day for 20 days is $10,800 a year. And that's before the upcharge of the dollies, the boxes, and also the coverings. All right. You know, the covering blankets that go over your furniture. So that's 5 figures, y'all. Now for folks who are on Turo, before I talk about the tax benefits, because that's the real sleeper, that's the real mind benefit. Currently, what Turo is doing is they are offering for drivers who want to create fleets, specifically Black entrepreneurs who want to create car fleets on Turo, an opportunity to get access to grants and mentoring. All right. So fleets just means you have one car, you're making $10,000 a year. You decide to buy 2 cars, right? So you decide to invest another $5,000 in another truck. Now you have 2 vehicles. Now you could potentially make $20,000 a year. If you take that to 5 vehicles, now that's a 6-figure business. That's what car fleets do. So a lot of folks on Turo don't just have one car, they have multiple cars, and they essentially use them to rent out to multiple people. If you are a Black person, specifically who are interested in starting this, Turo has a program that I think is really interesting that you can take advantage of, okay? So let's keep going, y'all. Whew, child. The last thing is, you might be like, well, Keys, we just spent $200 a month paying for expenses, right? We had to pay $70 a month for insurance every single month. We had to pay for maintenance, tires, gas, oil changes every single month just to make sure that our customers were happy. The great thing about being a business owner is what I said before, that the tax code was set up for owners to win and employees to pay. So you document all of your expenses throughout the year. All right, so that's parking. If you had to drive your car into a parking garage in order to meet the customer because you didn't want them pulling up at the front door, hello, that is for family and not for strangers, you can write off the parking costs. You can write off registration. You can write off depreciation. So if you bought your car for $5,000 and your car depreciates, let's say $1,000 a year for the next 5 years, that's what you can write off on your taxes. You can write off your oil changes, your fuel, and you can write off the mileage that your customers used when they were owning and operating your vehicle, all right? Tax write-offs, in my opinion, is code for reducing your tax liability. So if, let's say, you made $50,000 at your W-2, but you incurred $5,000 in expense. So you made $50,000 with your W-2, but you incurred $5,000 in expenses running your used car business. That means that now your tax liability has been reduced to $45,000 simply because you started this business. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're tracking your expenses so that Uncle Sam can refund you what? Your money during tax year. All right, so that increases the amount of benefit that you get. All right, so I wish you all the best. Don't forget, Black wealth is a mindset before it's an asset. And if you visit my YouTube, don't forget to kiss the like button with your finger. All right, love you all.